Greetings and peace. I would like to start this with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be with you and yours. Today's presentation, I would like to focus on the aspect of the hidden architecture, the third temple, the Sufi Masonic interpretation of the cornerstone of the Dome of the Rock in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And this is a video that I've been meaning to do for a while, and I represent myself for entertainment and education purposes only, and I hope you enjoy this. This presentation explores the convergence of ancient temple symbolism, Islamic cosmology, and modern events as reflections of a unified esoteric architecture. Beneath history's surface lies a continuity of sacred geometry, an invisible blueprint connecting the temples of the ancients to the monuments of the modern age. From King Solomon's temple to the Dome of the Rock and the towers of Manhattan, the same pattern repeats, a cosmic architecture built on divine proportion, light, and sound. In this journey, the initiate learns that all structures are allegories for consciousness, the true temple of the Most High. Reality itself is a temple built of suggestion. The geometry of architecture, the rhythm of speech, and the vibration of symbols shape the very lens through which we perceive existence. Subliminal design acts as a spell, conditioning the collective to accept illusion as truth. Mystics and Masons alike teach that reality is the great work of the mind, a temple whose stones are thoughts and whose mortar is belief. To awaken is to reclaim the trowel of consciousness and rebuild perception according to divine measure. The Twin Towers were more than monuments of steel. They were initiatory pillars, Jachin and Boaz reborn in the age of commerce. Their ascent reflected human ambition toward heaven. Their fall, a symbolic tearing of the veil that separated illusion from awareness. Through destruction, the initiate confronts the transient nature of material empires. The ruins stand as an altar where humanity was unconsciously initiated into a new epoch, one demanding inner reconstruction of the spiritual temple. At the heart of Jerusalem lies the foundation stone, the rock upon which heaven meets earth. In Islamic cosmology, it marks the prophet's ascension, the Miraj. In Masonic allegory, it is the cornerstone, the first point of alignment between divine intention and human craftsmanship. Both traditions converge on the same mystery, creation as architecture. The stone beneath the dome and the cornerstone of the temple are not separate. They are the same axis of manifestation, the gateway where spirit condenses into matter. Geometry is the grammar of creation, from the hexagonal pattern of the honeycomb to the cubic Kaaba. Divine intelligence expresses itself through numbers and proportions. Pythagoras called it the music of the spheres. Masons call it the key to the temple. In Islamic sacred art, geometry is an act of remembrance, a silent dhikr through form. Every circle, star, and tessellation declares the unity of the divine. To read geometry is to read the mind of God. The landscape of the 11 western United States mirrors the contours of the holy rock beneath Al-Aqsa Mosque. Mountains, rivers, and valleys unconsciously repeat the archetype of the sacred center. The earth itself becomes a divine manuscript, written in stone and soil. This correspondence suggests that sacred geometry is planetary, that the same blueprint guiding Solomon's builders shapes continents and civilizations alike. The new world unconsciously mirrors the old, manifesting the eternal pattern of the temple. The so-called yellow stone conceals a powerful reversal, holy stone inverted. The volcanoes, rivers, and canyons of the American West mirror ancient mythologies of the mother, the serpent, and the abyss. The land speaks in symbols. In esoteric understanding, geography is psychologically externalized. Every mountain range corresponds to inner ascent, every canyon a descent into the unconscious. The earth itself reflects the soul's map of initiation. The Grand Tetons, the Snake River, and Hell's Canyon together form an alchemical trinity: creation, wisdom, and transformation. The mother gives birth, the serpent grants knowledge, and the abyss tests the initiate's faith. In both Masonic and Islamic mysticism, descent precedes ascension. The seeker must confront the abyss of illusion to awaken the serpent of wisdom and return to the mother's light, the eternal feminine hidden within all creation. Throughout history, those who understood the sacred architecture of the world, the builders, became stewards of civilization. Kings, priests, and masons guarded the secret that all reality is designed upon divine proportion. Yet in every age, this wisdom risks corruption. When the builder forgets the light, geometry becomes a cage, not a revelation. The true initiate uses knowledge to liberate, not to dominate. The atom and the rock are mirrors of the same truth, light condensed into form. The foundation stone of Al-Aqsa and the nucleus of the atom both embody divine unity, the hidden geometry of existence. Modern science unknowingly rediscovers ancient metaphysics. The quantum field is the sea of spirit, the particle, the word made flesh. In this realization, Masonry and mysticism converge upon the same altar. Rockefeller Plaza and the World Trade Center were modern temples to commerce, their proportions echoing ancient sanctuaries. The skyscraper rising from the cornerstone is the Babel of our age, humanity's ascent towards its own image. Their destruction represented an alchemical purification. Through chaos, form dissolves, and from ashes emerges a new architecture of consciousness, the digital temple built not of stone but of code and perception. The Great Divide Basin mirrors the depressions upon the rock beneath the dome. This is not coincidence but correspondence. The same divine geometry repeated across scales. The earth itself is a fractal temple. Such reflections affirm the Hermetic law, as above, so below, as within, so without. The outer world mirrors the inner, and sacred geography maps the topography of the soul. Salt is the substance of preservation and transformation. In alchemy, it is the body of the world, the crystallized light that holds spirit in matter. The Great Salt Lake thus symbolizes the soul's imprisonment and its potential resurrection. Through the work of purification, the Mason and mystic dissolve salt into water, the solid into the fluid, ignorance into understanding. From this alchemy arises the new stone, the purified self, ready for illumination. The fractures across the Western landscape are not merely geological, they are prophetic. Each fault line mirrors the breaking of old paradigms and the birth of new consciousness. When the earth quakes, humanity is invited to awaken. In esoteric thought, every collapse reveals the hidden foundation beneath illusion. Destruction clears the way for regeneration. It is not the end, but the unveiling of the cornerstone of truth. Beneath the dome lies the well of souls, where the voices of the departed echo through eternity. This chamber symbolizes the threshold between worlds, the resonance of all who have walked the path before us. In spiritual allegory, the well is memory. It holds the vibration of divine wisdom, calling every seeker to remember their origin. The murmur of the souls is the music of the temple eternal. The two pillars, Jachin and Boaz, signify polarity and balance. To pass between them is to enter the sacred space of transformation. They represent the mind's dual forces, reason and intuition, order and chaos, reconciled in the heart. When these pillars fell in the outer world, humanity was symbolically forced to confront its own imbalance. The new initiation is eternal, to rebuild the lost equilibrium within consciousness. Every temple ever built is a shadow of the true sanctuary, the awakened consciousness. The Holy of Holies resides not in Jerusalem nor Mecca, but in the silent chamber of the heart, at the Qalb in the Sufi path, where even in the Quran it tells us that Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein in Surah 50, and how all initiatic paths tell us to go in, not out, and Allah is within the heart. The Masons' great work in the Sufi's path of purification are one and the same, to reconstruct the inner temple according to divine blueprint. When awareness becomes the cornerstone, enlightenment becomes inevitable. Masonic, Islamic, and Hermetic traditions all share a single cosmic grammar. The cube of the Kaaba, the Temple of Solomon, and the Dome of the Rock all express the geometry of divine unity. The initiate perceives no contradiction, only varied dialects of one eternal truth. The builder, the Sufi, and the mystic all labor upon the same edifice, the restoration of divine consciousness within humanity. The modern elite's fascination with the Third Temple reflects a deep esoteric yearning and a potential distortion. In prophecy, the Third Temple is both promise and peril, a symbol of completion but also of hubris if built in ignorance, what we're seeing in the modern times. For the true Mason, the Third Temple is not a building of stone but of light. Its reconstruction signifies the awakening of humanity's collective awareness, not the dominance of one creed over another. As basically, even the true Templars, right, were the defenders of all faiths, as I have expressed in previous videos. So this current paradigm we're seeing is not one of light. And what's going on in that part of the world is that Al-Aqsa Mosque is where it's supposed to be. And anything where you have, let's say, people that have satanically inverted everything, or even those part of different religions and esoteric orders, even some Masons, right, who have this, mind of reconstructing the Third Temple and shedding as much blood as they need to, they're in the wrong, and they will ultimately be triumphed over by the forces of light. Al-Aqsa Mosque is going to stay there, and the Third Temple is one of light within your heart, body, and soul, not something that's physically there. But what will stay physically there is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And we will see that no matter how much satanic inversions the other side is trying to do of this current situation. To awaken as a builder is to perceive the symbolic code underlying all forms. Every structure, event, and word conceals a lesson in geometry and vibration. Recognition dissolves bondage. The initiate who sees through illusion becomes a conscious architect of reality, the trowel in hand. He rebuilds not monuments of ego, but the temple of wisdom, love, and balance, as the true Master Mason. Light and number form the twin principles of manifestation. The Mason's compass and square mirror the divine act of measurement, the word becoming form. In Quranic cosmology, light, or nur, is the first creation, the matrix of all existence. Every photon and every ratio carry divine intention. To study number is to trace the echo of creation's first utterance. In both lodge and the mosque, light is the eternal initiator. In Masonic ritual, rebuilding the temple is the restoration of the lost word, the recovery of divine consciousness. In Islamic mysticism, the same is expressed through tazkiyah, the purification of the soul until the heart reflects divine light. Both paths teach that the true sanctuary lies within. When the heart is aligned with divine measure, the veil between heaven and earth dissolves, and the Mason stands as a living temple of God. Modern civilization replicates the patterns of ancient temples, yet often without awareness. Skyscrapers, grids, and digital networks are unconscious invocations of sacred geometry. The builders still follow the blueprint, though blind to its origin. To awaken is to reclaim the sacredness of design. Every act of creation becomes a prayer when guided by wisdom. The initiate reads the city as scripture and transforms illusion into illumination. This presentation honors the symbolic interpretations of Bryan Kemila, whose 2008 work, Subliminal Messaging and the Rock Under the Dome, revealed profound correspondences between the Dome of the Rock, the Western landscape, and the architecture of modernity. Kemila's perspective challenges us to look beyond coincidence, to see the world as an encoded manuscript of consciousness. His insights bridge mysticism, psychology, and geometry, urging humanity to awaken from the collective hypnosis we all been placed under. I'll place the link in the description below. And from my Sufi and Masonic perspective, this presentation was a tribute to Bryan Kemila. Here are the references and academic sources which I recommend you check out at your own convenience and leisure to further your studies. The true temple is within, built in light, and the world is transformed. Thank you for watching. If any questions or comments, please email me at salmansheikh911@gmail.com. And again, all my videos and channel is under the copyright laws of fair use, which is nonprofit, education purpose, entertainment purposes, information and free speech purposes. Thank you so much for watching. All rights reserved.